I hope you hear me well. My name is Idoya and I work here at LABASAD. Today we are presenting our masterclass in Thinking Like Human with AI with Thinh Truong. Before starting with the masterclass, I want to thank everyone for joining us and also let you know that by the end of this session, you'll have time to ask questions, solve doubts, and chat directly with Thinh. You can connect your camera and microphone or ask them in the chat and we'll solve any questions you may have. But first, I'm going to give you a brief introduction about our school for those who don't know LABASAD yet. Okay. We are the only exclusively online design school that has a 100% live format. This gives students an in-person experience in an online format. This is how we guarantee such a unique, high-quality learning experience. Here are some key stats about LABASAD. 90% of our students recommend LABASAD. More than 3,000 students have studied with us. We count with more than 250 instructors who are professionals currently working in their field. We have students from all around the world, such as Germany, the United States, Spain, Italy, Mexico, the United Kingdom, Chile, and more. LABASAD was recently featured in international media, such as Creative Boom, It's Nice That, and Design Boom, which you can check out on their site. What are the benefits of studying at LABASAD? Here are some. All our instructors are currently working in their field, and all of them come from all around the world. We accompany our students throughout the program so they are never alone in their experience. Students can access different opportunities such as workshops, masterclass, group follow-up sessions, participation in awards, LABASAD Live, networking, and much more. The next call for the application starts in May 2024. And if you want to get more information, you can send an email to info@labasad.com. Additionally, you can get in touch with us by email, phone, or throughout our socials, where you can see projects by the professors, LABASAD students, and other news. And now I introduce you to Thinh Truong, a multidisciplinary designer and AI enthusiast who loves to play with media. Afterwards, as I already mentioned, you can ask any questions you might have in the chat or by activating your microphone and camera. So don't be shy. Over to you, Thinh.
Thank you, Idoya, and thank you everybody for joining us with us today. Actually, I'm a bit nervous, but let's have some fun. I'm gonna share my screen now so we can start. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. Is it sharing?
Yeah, now we can see your screen.
Okay. So, welcome everybody, and the purpose of today's talk is just a little bit of my AI journey. I want to share with you guys that just to remind you, this is not really a tutorial on how to work with AI, but just from my own personal experience of having worked with AI for a while now. And I just want to share whatever from my perspective when it comes to AI and human creativity. And again, I'm Thịnh. I'm from Vietnam, and this is my Vietnamese name with a dot under. But people here just call me Thin because it's kind of hard to pronounce my name in Vietnamese, which is fine, by the way, because like it's like a manifestation to be skinny, you know. And as Idoya has said, I'm a multidisciplinary designer based in Barcelona, and I just graduated from motion graphic from IED Barcelona a few months ago, and I have this 3D portrait of me as a designer. I love media. I love playing with the media. As you can see, I represent myself in different type of format of media, traditional or digital or whatsoever. And if you really think about it, like everything can turn into a media. Depends on what kind of message you want to say. So this is me as a designer, but this is me as a person. I love to cry. I know I'm super cringe, but that is also my motto when it comes to design. I cry, therefore I design. Because at the end of the day, I believe design is just a human conversation, no? And before moving to the main theme of today, I want to just show you this screenshot, a scene from my one of my short film, and I think it really resonates with my own journey with AI. So I did this short film like before my work with AI started. This film is about robot dreaming to be a human, but in the end she just realized that everything she had been experiencing is just like data being feeding into her system, and everything just these human experience are just data and binary code. So this is also my main point for today talk with you, because I see AI as a tool to help me or maybe us to explore the human part of us more, like to explore the human creativity more, rather than just have this negative attitude about AI and like separate it as a thing. Is instead of this mentality of oh, machine vs versus human, or we are against them or something like that. Instead, let's just use the tool as a thing to explore, like us as human living in a modern century with the oversaturated of information, and now we take the next step to involve to how we can process all these kind of information. And AI is the greatest tool up until this point in history who could help us as a human living in the modern world to understand who we are and also like what the reality that we are living right now. So a bit of context of how I started with this AI journey. So more than a year ago, I applied to be an intern at Domestic Data Streamers. For you who don't know, the Domestic Data Streamer, or short is DDS, is a creative studio here based in Barcelona who specialize in data visualization, and they do all the projects based on how to transform the information and data to the public. So when I applied to the studio, I didn't realize, but then Paul Garcia, the co-founder of studio, told me that, oh, hey, by the way, I'm starting a new AI division within the studio, and it's gonna be run by you and another intern. So just two of you doing all these AI department from the start. And it took me by surprise. And then from that point, me and my partner in crime, Veronica, just two of us, two interns, starting this whole AI department within domestic. So it has been a very crazy ride, but that's how I end up here as an AI researcher. So I want to show you the first the first approach when we first started to work with AI, me and Vero at that time. So we first researched on two prompt book, and I will show you the first one. So for the first prompt book, we want to understand the relationship between text and images and data visualization when it comes to AI generative models. And the first one is just all about we have this neutral object, which is a blue cube. And then we generate that blue cube in so many different scenarios to see if AI really can understand the nuance of human languages. For example, here we have the material section. So the blue cube was generated in different type of material, for example, gold, wood, turtle shell, ice, fabric, embroidery, plastic, porcelain, clay, mud, etc. Fiber, bacteria. So basically the prompt is always a blue cube made of, and then we change, for example, a blue cube made of fiber, a blue cube made of bacteria material, a blue cube made of gum, a blue cube made of butter, to see how different this change of linguistic can change the result of the generation. And so you can see like we have this whole prompt book, not just as a research project, but also as a guide prompt guidance for the beginner who work with AI to understand what kind of language or what kind of category can help to achieve a better result with AI generative images. And yeah, we also try with how different artists or art uh, define the generation of this blue cube as well. So you have different art style here: instruction, illustration, blueprint, pattern drawing, cutaway diagram, and so on. Also, like how this blue cube gonna be in different 3D render, for example, Unreal Engine, Octane, Pixar, animation, Blender animation, and you can see that. And at that time, we try this research on 3 different AI model: Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and DALL-E 2 at that time. And honestly, DALL-E 2 at that time works the best in terms of understanding the nuance in human language. And what else? We also try to generate the blue cube in different type of photography as well. For example, this one is like in different kind of lens or perspective, over shoulder shot, tilt shift, motion blurs, also different type of lighting as well. And all these categories gonna help you to achieve a better, more control generative images rather than just writing random things, And we also generate the blue cube in as feature in different type of movie to see if how it's gonna affect the result. It's quite interesting. If you can have a look, I can share you with the link because this is like an open source for public. So the prompt book number 2 is a bit more specific in the type of language, which is quantitative semantics for languages. So because we are like a data visualization studio, so we always play with this semantic field when it comes to quantitative. For example, compare this data, the size of this data to the other data. For example, so we have family like measurement, like size, height, or the space, position, distance, or the material, the quality of the material. So I will show you an example so you understand. For example, the density. So we put all these languages in the scale from negative to positive. For example, extremely sparse, very sparse, sparse, slightly dense into extremely dense. We put all these in the scale and generate all of them with AI to see if AI can understand the little nuance between them, like us as humans do. And at that time, DALL-E 2 did quite well in understand these kind of nuance on this scale of quantitative languages. Yeah, we have size here from micro, tiny, small, average, big, huge, gigantic, humongous. So you can see DALL-E did super well in understand the difference between each word. And not just this very standard family, we also experiment with a more subjective family standard and more abstract. For example, human mood. So we also try to generate with the human mood on a scale from agonized, very sad, slightly happy, happy, very happy, delighted. And you can see how different each mood is according to AI, and I think it's super correct now. Like from also extremely disappointed to extremely satisfied, and you can clearly see the slight difference in each mood according to each word that DALL-E 2 at that time did. At that time, Midjourney and Stable Diffusion didn't work that well with this this nuance in human language. Well, because like DALL-E 2 is owned by OpenAI, like the company that own ChatGPT. So they are still the AI model that understand the most the nuance in human languages compared to other generative AI models. So yeah, those are the first 2 prompt
Wait,
book.
one sec. I think there's someone, Evelyn, Evelina submits so low. Would you mind like, okay, yeah, she already turned off the mic. You can go.
Huh?
No, you can keep on going. There was like someone with the mic on, so like we couldn't hear you properly. That's it.
Okay. So these two prompt book as the first research that we did with AI, and after that, because still DDS is a data visualization studio, so of course we have to try to use AI to generate data visualization. And the first topic that we generate was fatberg. And if you don't know, fatberg is this phenomenon that is like a rock-like mass of waste matter in the sewer system that is made up over time through everything that we flush down in the toilet. So over time, it becomes this very like disgusting rock-like mass matter. And the biggest one was found in London. It was weighed like 130 tons or something like that. So we did data visualization with the help of AI to visualize this phenomenon. And this is what I did with at that time. I generate this creature called fat fatbird, who carrying all the materials and that made up of this phenomenon, like for example the wet wipe, ash and dust, oil and fat, water and other stuff, to represent this idea of okay, like all of the things that we flushed out in the toilet that gonna come back and haunt us one day, because like this is like the consequences of our actions, no? And at that time, you have to imagine, like with the help of AI, we can did it in just a few days to generate this, let's say, kind of 3D render creature in a very fast, compared to if you're gonna model this one with the 3D programs, how long it's gonna take. You know, it's probably at least 1 week. But which is just like 1 or 2 days. With AI, you can have already create this visualization to represent your idea. The second data visualization is about greenhouse gas emissions per kilogram of food. So this one I have it talk about how much greenhouse gas emitted by different type of food that we consume. So I have this idea to generate a gallery of inflated food to just to say that, oh, we're gonna keep eating until the point until one day the planet explode, no? And so that's why again, with the help of AI, we can generate these, um, let's say, fake installation, but really realistic. But can you imagine if you're gonna do this in real time? It's gonna take months just to like customize the design of these inflatable animals and then put it in real life and film it and everything. So again, with AI, we can achieve this in few days. Another another data civilization is about global median age over time. And I have this idea of just to represent each period of human timeline as a chair, you know, like baby chair to kid chair to the chair in school to college chair to the CEO chair and then to the armchair for when we get old and then the wheelchair. So again, with the AI, at that time I was trying with AI to generate also the animation as well, but it didn't work that well, so I end up just like fixing everything in After Effects. But another approach when you work with AI to generate different elements and then move on, and then working with other tools with that element generated by AI to, let's say, to execute your project faster. And IMNA is the first client that we had when it comes to generate AI images. So IMNA stands for this Spanish name. Basically, it's a Mutant Institute for Environment Narrative. It's like a resource center on design, technology, art, about like the post-humanism, about like the environment and how technology and human gonna collaborate to with the environment in the far future. So they have a brief for us. They literally give us a keyword they want a library of 50 images that they're gonna use the images for their new website. And these keywords was like biology, biotech, science, research, pollution, organisms, and also on these kind of scientific and technology and biology keywords. So with that, me and my partner generate a library of 50 images, and these are some of the examples that I generate for you. And I really want to show this project because you have to remember at that time we used Midjourney. Midjourney was version 4, and Midjourney version 4 is shit compared to the newest version, which is version 6 right now. And it's extremely difficult to generate something like super photorealistic, like a photograph. Why? Because like Midjourney, ever since the beginning, they make it clear their mission was to stay away from the realistic generation. So they just want to focus on art or digital art. They don't want to do the model to generate like photorealistic images. So that's why version 4, we spent like, I literally cried for 1 week trying so many things, trying to generate something super photorealistic with this crazy scenario, because it's really is, if you think about it, it's super easy to, let's say, generate illustration of a dragon in a room rather than generate a photo of a dragon sitting in a room. So I spent literally the whole week, and finally we did that. We find a way to generate some images with crazy scenario that is not set in real life, but in a realistic photographic images. So yeah, at that time, these prompt was like 10 lines of prompt. I'm not even kidding, to get these kind of results. But right now with Midjourney version 6, they they tweak the algorithm, so Midjourney right now can generate super realistic images, I think, to compete with DALL-E and Stable Diffusion. But yeah, before it was very difficult. And also, here's another approach when working with AI, because you will never know what kind of topic or concept you're gonna work with when in AI. And with this one, I literally have to go into these kind of scientific journal to read all the paper on the biology or the paper research on microorganisms, to see how they describe these bacteria, like what is the name, what is the scientific name of these bacteria, how they describe how their bodies and their structure are formed, in order to get those keywords to later on to write the prompt to generate those with those keywords. No? So it was a very interesting project, which I learned a lot. And this is also one another key point of working with AI, because you keep, like, research is still the main thing. Like, always research. It's not about just writing stuff, but like you have to know what you're writing about in the prompt, I mean. Just some of the close-ups so you can see the crazy detail that it can generate at that time. Now it can be even more crazier, but you can see how I still don't understand how it can achieve this precision of the material, the translucent of the material, how the light hitting the material, and how different, like, little detail, for example, this one, different hairs, different tissues, and also this like holographic um, colors effect on the material of these microorganisms. Another one, just so this is my all-time favorite up until this point, and you can see like how it can it. If you look, if you notice, it separate like the real plants growing, the plastic and the metal structures, and also the bones of the dog. It's clearly separate them all. And if you know a bit about how AI work, it just reorganize pixels. But how, still, like, nobody knows how they can reorganize to this point of precision that can make sense to us as human when we look at it. But underneath it all, it just reorganize pixel on the screens. It's crazy. And another project which is completely different, because as I said, like, We always have different thing with AI, like literally every day is another thing, a whole new world. This one is a proposal for a game concept. It's called Anthropocene. It's a game, it's a video game with this low poly art direction. And at that time, we have to generate the art direction for the game to put in this proposal. So, so with AI at that time, it cannot generate to this level of complexity, whereas we have to generate create each scenes for each video game. For example, the mining scenes on the Black Friday happening at a supermarket. So all these kind of human activity gonna affect the planet, and it can never like it cannot it could not like generate this level of complexity and precision. So instead of generate the whole scene in one prompt, which not gonna work, we generate different tiny elements, assets of the video game. Like you can see here, low poly human, low poly crane, the mining, um, the mining machines. I don't know what it's called, and the low poly soils, and then use Photoshop to put them all together to create the final scenes to as a direction for the video game. So yeah, another point to talk when you working with AI in your proposal or whatsoever, like, can you generate different element and asset later on to put it as a final piece? Sometimes it's gonna be much easier because you can still control the precision and the complexity of the final work that you want to present. And because like AI, I'm not sure until now, maybe in the future it can generate like if you say that, okay, I want at this location 3 person fighting over some gift box, and then another location there's a grandma running, there's like two other self at the other far back, and then there's 5 other people fighting over some other gift box next nearby. I don't know if I can reach that point maybe in the future, but right now it cannot. So this is the way we work with AI for this kind of project now, to divide the elements and then to generate each of them. And I want to show you this a very interesting project which not seen in the mainstream media when it comes to generative AI. It's a project actually initiated by my dear friend David. It's called Synthetic Memories. It's about recreating lost memories for invisibilized communities. So David was a social worker, and he had this idea of because at that time he was working in the elderly home. So he had this idea when AI just come to be. He wanted to use AI to in the therapy to help the people to prevent the memory loss in the process of to prevent the memory loss with the help of AI. So we did some of the example, some of the experience, no experiments at the DDS for this project, where we kind of invite some old people to the studio, and we were asking them about to share with some of their memories with us. And in the meantime, we generate those memories with AI in real time and then show that to them. And the most beautiful thing happens when Juan, this is Juan, he's 70 or 80 years old something, and he was like talking about a memory of him and his brother. And then we generate these images to him and then show it to him, and he started to cry. And that was so beautiful because if you really think about this is generated by machine, and these people are not him and his brother. So like these people are not even real, but it made him cry because it's like because of the essence of the memory that these visual represent, that trigger his human emotion, human memory, and to make him cry. And that is also like, if you think about memory is not hmm, high definition. No, it's not really 4K or 8K in our mind. It's very fragmented and it's diffused in different part of our brain. And whenever we think of the memory, like all the dots start to connect and form some kind of the visual representation, the visual of that memory in my mind, in our mind. And this is what AI does at that time to generate this picture of him and his brother as a visual representation of that essence of the memory. That's why he was crying, even though you can see, I don't know if you can see clearly, the face are not very well defined. It's all like diffused and smoothed together, but overall, like it made him cry. And this also bring to a very important point I want to make when working with AI. And I would like to quote Bjork. In an interview, she said, and it's so amazing when people tell me that electronic music has not got souls, and they become the computers. It's like you can't blame the computer if there's no soul in the music. It's because somebody put it there. And completely agree. And I don't understand why there's always this conversation between like human vs machine, like human art vs machine art, or it's like, oh, the stuff that produced by the human or the robot doesn't have feeling so whatsoever, because it's, to me, it is not really make sense, because like robot or machine at the end of the day is still the creation of humans creativity. And it's true that anybody can generate images, but with AI. But not anybody can generate like stories. Not everybody can generate human emotions. Not anybody can generate imagination with AI. And apparently that's what that's what the most people are doing in the mainstream right now, just using AI to just generate tons of images, just create another visual trend. But not many body can do like generate interesting stuff, because there literally there's no soul or no narrative put in how you use AI to generate those images. So this is what I also want to share, and for you to keep in mind when it comes to AI generative. If you want to generate just another visual trend, or if you want to generate a human experience with AI, it's up to you. Okay, so enough with the deep stuff. Now move on to more fun stuff. Whereas I want to show you my own personal visual research journey with Midjourney, because I use mostly Midjourney in my free time to research of the visual in AI. And I especially love generate characters, and and also especially character that inspire from different cultures, different mythologies, and different folklores. Because for me, like those are the infinite source of human creativity. Is so inspiring, and it seems like never endless of the human mind can think of. And I want to use this material of human folklore, mythology, and culture to bring them as a character to life, not in terms of like make it realistic, but somehow mix with the modern thing, like a 3D render of a video game or something like that, as you can see on the screen. There are some more example of how different cultures and different countries, different mythology gonna result in different design, let's say design of the character, and I find it super interesting. And also I also inspired by the modern culture as well. This is a take from the gay BDSM culture, with the leather dominant daddy, and also the furry. The furry is a culture where people like to identify with the animals. um, So I was using this modern culture to generate character as well, as a source of my inspiration as well. And also internet culture, of course, like internet or digital culture is one of the biggest part of my life. And I try to generate these kind of post internet characters, like inspired by these Y2K. The first one is like Y2K Tumblr back in the early 2000, and also this weird human character as well, and also these very weird saturated colors and very stylized. Because I love hyper stylized. So I always do hyper stylized in whatever I generated. I'm sorry, I don't do minimalism. Minimalism is not me. I'm super hyper maximalist because I really believe the essence of life is minimal, but the manifestation of life is actually maximal, even beyond, because like how we express ourselves as human being in this reality through our culture, through food, through different personalities, through different culture, stories, mythology, folklore is so beautiful and it's maximal. It's not minimal. So so yeah, I always do super hyper stylized thing, and I love that. Of course, cats. Like one of another subject I like to generate, and it's so crazy how you see the one in the middle, how realistic it makes the wet fur mixed with the sand look like. And this time it's like it's very crazy, and now it's in the future it's gonna develop more. Mm, and also I tried to different type of hyper stylized digital art, for example. And one tip for you, you can try to move away from the standard aesthetic, the mainstream aesthetic, where it generates like super correct and clean images like this. If I think it's very mainstream, but you can try with the keywords to put in your prompt. Like for example, here I experiment with like distorted figures uh, I forgot, like broken distorted figures. Um, yeah, to see how that's gonna change the aesthetic of the image that it's gonna generate. And I love these kind of like move away from the mainstream visual aesthetic. Another one, of course, like I generating a lot of photography stuff, and again, like super hyper stylized photography. For example, the first one, I love generate like sunglasses campaigns. I don't know why, but with sunglasses campaigns with different interesting models, like a doll from some folklore or mythology, or a real person with hyper stylized person, and the one in the middle, which an experiment when I generate the realistic photography with the 3D graphic. Oh no, with the 2D graphic behind. And this is also one of the main approach when I generate with Midjourney is like to try to mix reality. And I think that is very interesting to mix 2D with realistic or 2D with 3D and so on. On some more example of these kind of 2D with real photo. So you can understand, of course, like I'm from Vietnam, so I generate so many like Asian theme things. And this one is another series I generate with the perspective of a GoPro camera. So the first one is like a GoPro selfie of aliens. The second one, a GoPro selfie of the of a puppy in the schoolgirl dress. The third one, GoPro of the dryad. Dryads, this like mythology creature live in the forest. And also these more fun stuff. So GoPro selfie of creatures in the Garden of Earthly Delights painting by Porsche. And it's super interesting. I love these. And I already told you I love hyper stylized stuff. So I love to generate these photography, which it looks like a painting, but it's a photography. It's a photograph at the same time. These kind of crazy colors. And I tell people I literally cry in RGB because like this is literally what I look at my screen every day. Like you have to imagine my library is like thousands of picture with crazy colors like this. So yeah, but I love it. And also I experience with different kind of visual stimuli, in this case like grotesque. the ugliness, to see how AI can understand the grotesque aesthetic or the ugly aesthetic rather than the traditional, no, the beauty standard that we know in the visual world. And I think the result is quite interesting. And I don't know if you know, recently Midjourney version 6 just come out, and it's extremely realistic, and it's super easy to get realistic. And so I want to test how realistic it can be, but not in the way of, oh, generate a very realistic human or what a realistic image or whatsoever. I want to generate how the different narrative, different story that is not Western-based narrative, to see if it can represent those narrative. For example, in this one, the narrative from third world country, can it represent that narrative in that realistic scale? And it did. It's so crazy that it did, because I'm from a third world. I'm from Vietnam, so I know these kind of like visual aesthetics from this narrative from this country, um, like this that you can see. I call this series like I Dream in Another Language. So I just experience in different narrative in different third world country to see how that visual different from the mainstream visual generated by AI community. And it's so crazy. Like I was so shocked. But yeah, these kind of visual with the lighting, with the colors, with the subject, it's what I saw back home in Vietnam every day, but not the beauty standard when it comes to generate images with AI. But at the same time, it's kind of scary to see how it can represent that realistic, these kind of off off the mainstream narratives is. So yeah. And another one, of course, horses. I don't know why visual artists are general obsessed with horse. Me too. So I generate a lot of horses stuff as well. This is like a dream horse with Midjourney version 6. And it's very interesting to see how it can understand the dreamy aesthetic, the surreal aesthetic. When it like like I don't understand how the machine can understand the nuance. How they can understand how a picture can recreate these kind of surreal and dreamy um, in a very realistic setting like this, and it created. Another point for you maybe to try out is like to mixing different kind of texture in the prompt to see what come out. In this series, I try to provide the prompt with like pixel art, but render in 3D. So it create this kind of very interesting 3D pixel thingy. Uh, I think we run out of time, so I'm gonna move very fast. For example, this one also, like I generate like pixel anime girl, but make her comes alive to see how the AI can understand that. And here you can look at the result. It's quite interesting. I also generate a lot of space design because I have a brief for my student. One of the brief for my student to generate the opera, an otherworldly opera. So I have to generate some kind of stage design as an example for them. And also this stage design, the first one inspired, of course, from the traditional Chinese painting. The fourth one in the corner, it was like from if um, if the Garden of Earthly Delight, the painting as a space, how it would like and how would it look like, and you can see the result is super interesting how I can think and open my mind. And again, I love generating robots. And I think when people started using AIs, that they just they're gonna start generating robots, aliens, biotech, or whatsoever. It's crazy. But even if you're gonna generate robot, like can you generate something more interesting robot that all the robots aesthetic that we can already see? So this is what I try to do with Midjourney to generate super hyper stylized robot. And you can see move on from the mainstream image of the robot to see how it's gonna look like. And again, I love generating transparent things, because what the Midjourney generate inside that transparent body is what I don't understand, because I don't specify what is inside the body, but like it keeps generating interesting things that inside that transparent body. Like for example, you can see here. Yeah, these are more like a more aesthetic robot compared to the traditional robot, how it look like, which I love to experiment with post-internet aesthetic as well, I think. And also I kind of generate realistic robot as well in this case. But when I generate realistic thing, I want to put a story, a narrative in it. For example, the one in the middle is a Kafia robot to see if Palestine, if they can build a robot. The pink dog next to it was literally an inspiration from the puppy from the BDSM culture to generate as a robot as well. So yeah, if I'm gonna generate realistic things, then at least it had to have some kind of story that it's more interesting. I rarely experiment with typography, but I want to show you this one, which recently I tried to generate word or typographies that made from that form from the human body's hair when it get wet like this. The result is not bad, but it's not that good. But I think in the future it's gonna get more crazy. But I think I just want to see if the AI can understand these kind of nuance in how the hair is formed when it gets wet, and then how it's gonna shape a real character, a real typography is based on that. And this is just for fun. And yeah, I love generate transparent thing. And I will share you a tip, because the moment you write human organs in Midjourney, gonna get banned. So in order to generate these kind of human organs, I write in the prompt was like to generate like the transparent with horse organ or something like that, and then I use an input picture of a human. Then it's gonna generate this human with the real human organs, rather than if you're gonna write in the prompt, it's gonna get banned. And yeah, these I also explore the. It's like my mind every day. I have different things to try, different story, different topic to generate with Midjourney. This one is like a departure for a floral ritual or something like that. But then with this topic, I generate in different reality, and I would recommend you to do the same. So if you have a topic, try to generate in different reality. The first one is realistic. Then the second one is like a puppet, a stop motion puppet or something. The third one maybe a 3D render to see how in each realities your story gonna change. And and this is very inspiring process for me. This one is a phenomena in Vietnam where people carry a lot of stuff in their motorbike. But I wanted to see if Midjourney can generate more exaggerate version of it, but still keep a very Vietnamese aesthetic, and it did, which is kind of crazy. And the the final one I want to mention is that to generate with Midjourney is to try to bring these kind of unimaginable stories comes to life. For example, the one in the middle, I generate a story of the love story of a Vietnamese soldier with an American soldier during the Vietnam War, which is I think impossible to happen at that time. And also, but I don't know if it's like impossible or is it untold. So with the Midjourney, I want to generate this story to bring a light on these kind of unimaginable reality to see how it's gonna look like. And the other two was just the photo of gay couples of the indigenous people in the colonial time to see how they're gonna look like. And so yeah, it's all about the story and the narrative you want to tell. It's not really about the picture actually. And to end the masterclass, I want to share a little tip. When you can start your own generative journey is what I call conceptual prompting. So with Midjourney, you can go to back to the previous version of Midjourney, which is less defined and less perfect model. In this case, I have the prompt photo of trashes turning into a human on a dirty pavement, and I have two comparisons here. The first one is version 3, and the second one is version 6, where you can see a human kind of trash in the shape of human body. But I think the aesthetic of the version 3 is more interesting because it's less defined. It gives more room for imagination. And this is what I always told my students to try, like try to use Midjourney, like the older version before the version 5 or 6, where it gets super realistic, to see how your concept, your your perception of a certain concept compared to the Midjourney to the machine perception of that concept. For example, the version 1, a puppy, compared to the realistic one of the puppy. I think the version 1 puppy looks more interesting conceptually to me. So yeah, use these kind of tip or trick to actually expand your perception of the reality, because let other kind of point of view so you can expand your inspiration, I think. Another one is you can try to write a prompt to describe this very abstract concept. In this case, I have a photography of the digital installation depicting the creation of life. So you can try writing these kind of super abstract conceptual words or terms into Midjourney or in any kind of AI platform to see how they're gonna generate these kind of images, how they're gonna produce these very abstract visual that even us, we cannot like kind of visualize these kind of abstract concepts. This one is the digital environment design inspired by the memories of a fish. Who knows what the memories of a fish look like? But look what Midjourney give me. Like I think it's super interesting. And the third one is like to try with Midjourney. You can use with an input image where you put a referenced image and then you can generate the new images based on that referenced image. So in this case, I put a picture of a tadpole, frog eggs, and then I asked Midjourney to give me a robot. And can you guess what it generates? It gives me an embryo of a robot, which I find is super interesting. So yeah, all these three methods, I hope you can try and to see how it sounds. Like let the AI surprise you rather than having a concrete vision or visual in your head. Let the AI surprise you, and that's gonna expand your creativity even more. And that's basically everything I want to share today because it's very short, even though I still have a lot of things to show. But let's just like before ending the session, just look at the ocean, be calm and let it wash away everything I just said or everything you just see, and start your journey with creative generative AI afresh. And thank you so much for your listening so far. And we can move on to the Q&A sections.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Thin. Like, honestly, that was great. And yeah, I mean, it left me speechless. I gotta say that I've never got this like perception of AI, and this presentation like changed it, at least for me. So I'm sure like I can hear already that there's a lot of people asking things. So
Should I leave the presentation on
I
or should I turn it off?
I think you can actually turn it off and just let your camera on.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so let's start
Thank
because
you
I
so
know.
much, everybody, by the way.
So I know we've got a question like right at the beginning of the session, and it was from Caterina Matrali that it asked like, so this wording is used to experiment with AI for generating images?
Hmm? Wait, what?
By the beginning, like someone asked, I think it was Katerina. I think it was like right at the beginning of the presentation when you were talking about like the experiment you did with DDS,
Mm-hmm.
and like I think it was about the prompt book too. And
Yeah.
so she was asking like if the wording is used to experiment with AI for generating images.
Yeah. Yeah. It was about choosing each different words in the scale of that family and put it in the prompt to see how AI can if AI can understand these words compared to us how we understand these words. So yeah, it's all about wording in the first research that we did.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm not sure if like okay, I see like everyone is so thankful about your masterclass. So we've got another question from Agatha P. Have you tried using AI tools for video creation? Any thoughts or advices about how to approach them?
Okay, I tried. The thing with AI generative video is not there yet. So I haven't tried much, but I would recommend you to try with Runway ML and and depends on what type of video you want. So if it's like a really realistic thing, like AI right now cannot do that well. AI video cannot do that well, but maybe in the next year it's gonna be there. But I would try to, if you want to play with AI video, do more abstract things, like more experimental thing, which gonna give you more interesting visual, rather than doing like, for example, the scene of the street of video, just like running, cars just running by, you know. So yeah, try to like play with the idea of this movement, you know.
I think she got it. I think that would like actually that answer the question. Like honestly, like I've got a completely different perspective now. Honestly.
Yeah.
Uh, so does anyone else have any other questions? Please like ask anything that crosses your mind. Now it's the time. Um, okay, so we've got a question from Thiham. In the AI, is intelligence really intelligent? And is the artificial really artificial?
I would tell you it's not really intelligent, but if it's but it's not intelligent based on human intelligence. So it's another type of intelligence. So yeah. But if you compare that to our understanding of human intelligence, then it's not. It really is not. And artificial, I don't think it's artificial, even though it's not real, but it's actually based on real because like if you know a bit how the mechanism behind these kind of AI generative model works, it literally fit on all the content that has been produced by human throughout the history. So all the source of the material are real. And what is generating things are just like replicate and mixing of those original material that we have been producing. So yeah, it's not really artificial, but maybe in the future we're gonna have an AI that can generate new things that never been produced before by human. Then maybe that is artificial, which I don't know yet, but I hope that answered your questions.
Okay. Let's wait and see. Okay, so we've got another one from Lara. Where do you still see difficulties or problems while generating images with AI?
Mm, I think the difficulties with generating with AI right now is when you use AI to as a tool to bring out whatever vision in your head to real, you know, like 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 Photoshop. Like Photoshop, like you can have all the option that you have control over everything to create a poster or illustration or whatever, because you have a total control of everything of what you imagine, what the poster of the final work gonna look like. And with the AI current state, it cannot do that to the perfect precision of whatever you imagine in your head and bring it to real life with the help of AI. Instead, AI and that is the main difficulty right now. But in the future, it's gonna be very soon. It's in every design tool gonna implement with AI, and that's gonna that's gonna work way much better to bring your vision into real life with AI. But right now, the current state of AI, I would prefer it to be an exploration of creativity and source of inspiration rather than have a concrete image or vision in your head.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we've got another question from Diego.
With another question.
Yeah. Now we've got so many questions, so let's go one by one. Diego is asking if he can find the research paper you made anywhere.
I can send the link to you. I don't know.
I mean,
Actually,
if
yeah,
there's no problem,
I
actually,
can
in this...
copy and paste in the chat.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be perfect.
This one is the first one. This one is the second one. So yeah, you have the link for the
Oh my
both
God,
from
great.
books.
Okay, so now moving to the next question, Christian Turati. If the number of AI generate images available on the web will surpass non-AI, well, that's going to be a long question. If the number of AI generate images available on the web will surpass non-AI generated images in the future, do you think that the quality of AI generated content will decrease because it will start to use an AI generated images as a starting point instead of non-AI
Yes,
generated images?
yes, for sure. Because yeah, I totally agree, and I think the quality over time gonna decrease because as I just told in the previous question, like the mechanism of how AI work is that it using all the data that has been produced by human. So if you think about it, like at some point, if we stop producing new content to fit in the AI, then nothing new is gonna comes out with AI anymore, and that's when the human created content's gonna be more interesting, if you know what I mean. So yeah, of course, over time, if people like overuse the AI, the generated images of AI, it's gonna just start becoming the same, like just visual noise, visual trend, like any other thing. So yeah.
Wow. So now we've got a question from Majo. How, in your opinion, AI will change in the future? Is it going to be more realistic, detailed? What do you expect from it?
I hope I hope I hope AI in the future gonna turn into very individual. So which mean that everybody can have their own AI, which is trained by their own data, rather than the unethical source of data that most of the AI company are doing right now. So it's become very individual in terms of everybody has their own AI in their own world, and I think that is more interesting, you know. So yeah,
Great.
the future of AI is gonna be personal.
Sorry, no, you can keep on going if you want.
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay, we've got another one from Luke. Does AI, will AI do all the creative work, or it will work more for concept creating and then using that artwork to create in a traditional way and tools?
Both. That depends on the clients and that depends on the designers. So anyway,
Yes.
right now there's no regulation on how you can commercialize AI, things that generated by AI. So people can do all sort of things, like
Okay, great. So we've got, I think, two more questions, at least now. Thiham, hand is a really easy body part to draw. Why is AI having challenges generating fingers?
the first part, actually, hand is the most difficult part to
To
draw. If
draw.
if you ask any drawing teacher or any drawing school, hand is always the most difficult part to draw, and I don't understand why. But the second part, why is AI having challenge generating fingers? There's a video on YouTube, which I don't remember, but if you search this on YouTube, there's a video of one guy that explained this to you. So sorry, I don't know this one. but go on YouTube.
Maybe it's our fault. Since we don't know how to draw fingers, then that's why AI cannot draw it.
Yeah.
I mean, since we are feeding the AI, so maybe that's why.
See.
So next one, we've got it from Samantha. From your perspective, what would be the easiest way to generate same character in different environments with Midjourney as an example?
In Midjourney, there's a tool called Vary Regions. It works like a selection tool in Photoshop, so you can select all the background except the character and then generating new background in the prompt. And that's how it's gonna keep the same character but with new environment. So yeah, Vary Region, you can look it up.
Okay, so now I think we've got one more question from George. Well, I think that for us, is this recorded for reviewing later, please, as I arrived late? Yeah, you're gonna find it on YouTube. We'll upload it tomorrow morning. So yeah, and you can check it out there on our YouTube channel. And well, I don't know if anyone else got any other questions. Well, actually, maybe I have one more question. Like, what do you think it was like the thing that shocked you the most when using AI? Like, is there anything that surprises you? Like any output that surprises you from AI?
Yep. I'm surprised by how limited my worldview is with AI. Because the way I play with AI is always keeps surprising me with new story, new visual story, rather than the one that I already seen elsewhere on the internet or something. And mind you, because like I'm 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 a designer that I don't like to have a personal or one specific style. So I'm open to so many, like almost all of the style, and I always like researching on the internet, on Instagram, on Pinterest, or Behance, or whatsoever. I've seen so many things, but still I'm super surprised by how AI keep presenting new things for me. So it's like people say that, oh, nothing is original anymore, but still like we see new things every day. So that's the best part about AI in my case, because it opens my mind to more possibility that I haven't thought about it before. And it's very good for designers, I think.
Great. Uh,
Uh,
well, someone is asking like, where can they see your work?
you mean
So maybe,
AI work or design work? Design work, I have my website, but I don't publish my AI stuff yet. I mostly just like show them on my Instagram story and it disappear in like one day. And I'm not sure, I'm in this mixed feeling about like creating an Instagram page to showing all the AI work, because I don't know, it's just like AI, like everybody can do. But at the same time, maybe in the future, because I really want to get in contact with more people, so maybe more chance to collaboration or project on AI gonna come. So yeah, maybe in the future I'm gonna create an Instagram just with my AI images. So
okay,
yeah.
great. We'll love to see it. So I think that's it for today. Honestly, that was a lot, but that was great. Honestly, I gotta say that I am so happy to see like your whole journey throughout these years, and I am so glad. Honestly, I gotta say thank you for like giving me this perception about like AI. Like I never thought about it this way. I never thought it about like something like that can bring stories and like yeah, like open up like to other possibilities. So thank you so much for literally this whole masterclass.
No,
And
thank
well,
you
and
for
thank you
inviting
to
me.
everyone.
Yeah,
That was great. So thank you so much, guys. And I hope to see you around for like other masterclasses or any other sessions.
finger
And
crossed.
yeah, well, have a nice evening.
Yeah, you too. And thank you everybody. Ciao.